Could we pause and seek guidance, please? Okay, could we have adoption of the agenda? Is there any additions or deletions? There was the one, is that on there?
I'll delete internet and just wait till our big meeting on it
And then there's an addition
in
that I
September.
have.
And your addition?
The funding request from the HMCA Arcadia.
Yep.
Arcadia.
Corner box.
Nine. Whoops, that would be 8-1.
Yep, so delete 7.
I've deleted 7-1.
I'll move
And-
the adoption of the agenda as amended.
Pardon me?
I'll move for the adoption of the agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
Okay, I was going to say, under new business, I was just going to mention the funeral and a couple little things. Not, or maybe under correspondence, where would be the better?
Up to you.
Correspondence, probably.
Yeah, we'll do it under correspondence. Okay. Okay, you moved it. Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next on the agenda, we have a presentation from iValley Intelligent Community Association. Paul Bazant, Barry Gander, and Terry Dalton are the three that will be doing the speaking. Could I have council approve their presentation? Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Just bring 2 other chairs, come on up. And
Maybe I'll close. Shall I close the door for the
Oh,
moment?
yeah, if
No,
you
leave it
want.
open?
They'll be done.
Oh, okay.
They're closing the gate.
Now, that one speaker I don't think is on. This one, closest to you, Mr. Bazant.
We can share this one then, if that's okay.
No, just turn it on. And then you're going to have to share the other between you guys. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I would like to compliment you on your technology, in fact. I haven't seen this before. That's very cool. Thank you. My name is Barry Gander. I'm co-founder of iCanada and of the iValley Association with my colleague Terry Dalton, who's the president, and my colleague Paul, who's the vice president. As where I come from afar, I've just moved here from Ontario, where I was co-founder of iCanada, which is a national movement, and executive vice president of the Canadian Advanced Technology Alliance, which is Canada's largest high-tech organization. And I still hold both of those organizations in active role. I know, Madam Mayor or Madam Warden, that you've already received an invitation to the event that we're going to talk about during the course of this presentation, the August 25th meeting with all of the other mayors of the Valley and with Dan Matheson. You would have received that from Don Clark of Berwick, Mayor of Berwick. And we hope that, of course, you'd be able to do that. What I'd like to do right now very quickly is run through what we're about and why we're trying to do it. So I hope that I'm able to switch. Oh, there we go. It actually works. What iValley is, it's a vendor-neutral, not-for-profit organization. We're here to try to transition the Annapolis Valley into a valley of smart communities. And by community, we mean communities of any size, so rural communities as well as small towns, as well as small villages. So a ribbon, as it were, or a necklace of smart communities up and down the valley. And what we do is provide the programs and consulting to affect that transition. And by doing that, we're going to help enhance the competition. We're going to enhance the social life in the valley, provide better service from a networking point of view, and we're going to try to keep prices low beyond what you're possibly now expecting. Pardon me. There we go. Okay, sorry. It's a technology thing. we have partners that cover the entire connection process for a network. We have partners that we're working with that are levers of this kind of movement. The Canadian Internet Registration Authority across Canada, it provides the .ca domain name. Partners that include the Global Cities Indicator, which helps put your community on the global map of smart communities. Our foundation point are the community's needs, and we come in and we find out what your needs are for networking. In the network itself, we have the Valley Community Fiber Network, which is the core fiber network in the community. We work with network providers like F6 and NCS networks. We also work with Cisco and Alcatel. And at the tail end of the process, we work with companies like Hanatech, who will be with us on Wednesday in Berwick, helping the mayor decide on what smart services to put into the new town hall to make it a smart building. And that's very, very important to us. We also put on webinars, for example, on smart communities, and there's one coming up on September the 29th with Tridel and with Intel on why a smart community is important. And we picked Hanatech as part of that national group because they're based in Halifax, but they're a national leader, and not many people know their name. So you can reach into the valley here, and you can find organizations and companies that are global leaders, and in a sense, nobody's heard of them, and we want to change that. There's nothing wrong with what's going on here. Why smart communities? Broadband enhances the services that give competitive and social advantage. They provide the highest wages, the best living conditions, the best health standards, best economic growth, and they're the most sustainable communities, and that we can demonstrate through records that have gone back at least 12 years of the smart communities movement. Canadian communities, I'll skip to the bottom slide, are dominating around the world. We have more smart communities in Canada than any other country in the world. That's just sheer numbers. And when you think of the people who are fighting against us, that's astounding. Each year, 300 communities put their names forward to be named as the smartest community of the year, and Canadian communities have won it more times than anyone else. That's just Olympic gold all the way for us. So we're very, very proud of what we've done. The reason that's important is because in any economy, 75% of all of the growth in that economy comes from sheer innovation, and that's digital these days. Facebook is now worth more than Walmart. Apple and Google and Microsoft top the list of the most valued 25 companies in the world. You can go through the number of companies like Airbnb and so on that are dominating the economy, and they're all digital companies. We want to make sure that Digby and the municipality of Digby Region has its chance to be that and to bring everybody in the community into that world. Otherwise, it's going to be passed by. We are aware, for example, and one of my friends at VP at IBM was in despair the other day because he had just come back from Saskatoon talking to a corner store owner in Saskatoon who was telling him that he didn't need to be part of the digital economy because he just ran a corner store and that wasn't going to change. It never had. And the VP couldn't get through to him that this day we're almost at the point where you can phone up a retailer and have a product delivered by a drone to your door within 7 minutes. And in China they're already doing this, and it costs 7 cents a delivery to do that. Well, what use is the corner store if you can just go online and find a selection of anything you want and get it delivered that way? People don't understand the word exponential. Things grow exponentially fast, and they overtake you exponentially fast. We want to make sure that if that's going to happen, that the Digby area, which I love, and it's one of the reasons I moved to Nova Scotia, has a chance to be there. This is the price of admission, that's all I'm trying to say. Here's a same-size community called Chattanooga in the United States. Its electrical utility drove the creation of the smart community. They have a 10 gigabit network, which probably means nothing to you, but it's a huge network, hugely fast network. The return on investment is what I want to draw your attention to in terms of new businesses and social benefits that happened in the last few years since they put that in. $865 million worth of new business, almost 3,000 new people employed, the new VC funding to the tune of about $50 million, and they're saving $50 million a year on their smart grid. And the new businesses that have been enticed to Chattanooga include companies you would have heard of, like Volkswagen, Amazon, medical companies, 3D printing, anything to do with big data. And the reason, Madam Warden, that we're inviting you and of course Linda to this meeting on the 25th is because you're going to be able to talk to the Mayor of Stratford and Matheson, who has a community that's gone through this. Stratford had a near-death experience as a town. The furniture factories closed, the railway lines shut down, unemployment was at 50%. They decided to go with the Stratford Festival that you probably heard of as part of their reason for success. But the other reason was that they put in a huge network. And right now they're getting companies coming to them, like an autonomous vehicle company saying, we want to locate in Stratford because you've got the network we need to test this. And they've got the RBC data bank just moved into Stratford. And these are jobs employing lots and lots of people. So the benefit is out there. And they made the point that the gigabit wasn't coming anywhere to us. We had to go out to get it. So they know that this is a proactive kind of campaign you have to run. The point for all of the Valley communities is that we have to take our future into our own hands. It has to be an intentional future. We can't wait for the telecom companies to give this to us because they're very good and we need their help. But all of the communities that have won the Smart Community Awards have been independently run. They run their own telcos. They've run their own networks. And that's something that we can help you with. iValley itself, we have 4 values that deliver smart communities. We have a program that goes through this process of engagement with your citizens. Capability, that is, we help provide the infrastructure. That turns into a socioeconomic return on investment that we have to demonstrate, and we have to show people what it is. And we can do that because we have the tools. And provide recognition. There's almost no point in going through this process if the rest of the communities in the world aren't going to see what you've done. You have to be on the global radar. So this is a return for you out of doing all of this. We have a program, and I'm going to turn this over to Terry at the moment, called the Seed Mile. I'll just explain what that means. It was from the turn of the century when people were first starting to drive cars, and the car companies would pave 1 mile of road outside the towns so that people would find out what a good experience driving could be if they weren't on a dirt track. So they called that the Seed Mile. And all the Seed Miles eventually got connected together, and that was the highway network. But Terry, if you could carry on with the Seed Mile program.
Sure, Barry. The Seed Mile program is being put in place reflective of what the 4 premiers and Scott Bryson have put forward to engage the Atlantic Growth Strategy, they call it. In that Atlantic Growth Strategy, 3 of the 5 pillars discuss better broadband capability. There's one that discusses creation of innovation hubs or centers that whereby people can come together and start to share ideas and hopefully be innovative and create new jobs. And the third is a group called innovation clusters. So it's those 3 pillars that we're working with regard to a Seed Mile program within the Annapolis Valley, what we call the Smart Annapolis Valley Initiative. Barry, you just want to change that?
Oh, of course. Sorry, Terry.
So in the, I don't know how familiar you are with the Valley Community Fiber Network, but back in the early 2000s, when I was executive director of the Atlantic Canada Organization of Research Networks, we helped fund dark fiber development between Middleton and Meteghan. And that was in part due to the repurposing of CFP Cornwallis into the Pearson Peacekeeping Facility, which involved the towns, involved the University St. Anne, and also the community college. And that network, actually in 2004, because of early stage fiber optic network development, and repurposing community, and community assets such as CFB Cornwallis, that was named one of the top smartest regions in Canada or in the world in 2004. So an initiative like that got recognized back then. So the Valley Community Fiber Network was commissioned in 2008, but was never really put to use for economic benefit, which was one of the pillars that we had described when we first put the network in place, or first discussed the development of the network in 2005. So we want to put in place a program that utilizes that network because it is a dark fiber open access network that ties into Halifax, it ties into the National Research and Education Network, it ties into the new Halifax Internet Exchange, and has the capability of extending what Barry described as that gigabit last mile program into each of the communities along that route. Now, at the moment, the Valley Community Fiber Network ends in Middleton because it did tie into FundyWeb at the time. So what needs to happen now is we need to carry on with another program that essentially reestablishes what FundyWeb did, but well beyond that. So F6 Networks is one of the organizations that is partnered with us and moving forward to actually create a new network from the end of the Valley Community Fiber Network in Middleton through Digby and cross to St. John to tie into their network there, as well as the state of Maine. So that closes a loop in dark fiber open access networks that we have from Maine right through Moncton, Halifax, and back through this way again. Along those routes, each of the major points of presence is where we would like to create an innovation hub. One similar to what Acadia University has, which is the Entrepreneurship Center there, and they have 3 institutes running, one for the wine industry, one for tidal energy studies, and one for data analytics. So the innovation hubs themselves would be a meet point, but it'd be a facility that is capable of bringing people together, bringing small businesses together to experience what a very high-speed open access network would do for them. And
Open access, what do you mean by that? Sorry.
well, when you
that's
come
right.
into a building such as this building, you would have network ports available running at gigabit capability. So extremely high speed, which no residents or small business experiences in Nova Scotia right now. Adjacent to that as well, we have the capability of putting in long-distance, high-speed, gigabit-capable Wi-Fi.
And you can use most of the infrastructure that's already here to a large degree?
The infrastructure that's here, likely
Alliance, for example.
Alliant, for example, doesn't run at that capacity here, and neither does Eastlink.
Okay.
So it would be a network a lot faster than what they can deliver here. At the
So
moment.
you'd physically put in another network, physically
Yes.
put in, I guess, buried wires.
Fiber
Right.
optic cable.
Fiber optic cable,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
from
let-
that-
let-
That's
let-
good.
let-
Just
okay.
curious.
No, that's fair.
They're
But what we'll do is let them finish their presentation.
I was just
Then we'll
confused.
go to
It's
the
very
question.
difficult for me to wait, but I'll
No,
try.
that's
No,
fine.
that's good. If I might build on that, though, what we would do with these hubs is put a wireless network in place that would feed the entire community of Digby with service between 50 and 300 megabits a second. So it's very, very fast. And it would be up to world standards in terms of the cost of that, too. So you'd be trying to approach the cost that Koreans get for their services, for example. And we know how to do that because we helped the Waterfront Toronto guys get a gigabit of service up and down the waterfront of Toronto for about $60 a month per person. And that's very, very low. But I'll leave that aside, and I'll shut up now, Terry.
Yeah, so that's one of the programs that we have, and that's what we call the Seed Mile program, is the establishment of these innovation hubs such that communities and small business and residents can experience that high-capacity throughput in order to start thinking about, well, can they create other applications, for example? Can they do other types of business? Yes, they can get more involved in things like telehealth, telepresence, those sorts of things, which the healthcare industry is trying to do with regard to better broadband capability in rural areas for healthcare delivery. So that's just an example. So that's what we call direct utilization of an open access dark fiber network, such as the Valley Community Fiber Network. From there, Barry, if you want to go on, Barry mentioned the Canadian Internet Registration Authority. We have a partnership with them, and we have, at the moment, we're putting in place a pilot program with them, which will give us a measurement of internet capability or internet capacity in every community in the Annapolis Valley as it stands right now, which is nothing that anyone has at the moment. When you look at what Business Nova Scotia put out for their RFI for rural broadband, they referenced a report from CRTC in 2014, but that was the capability of delivery, not what is actually being used by residences and businesses. So through this partnership with CIRA, we are able to actually get a direct measurement of the capability that a residence has, that a small business would have, and it doesn't matter whether it's hardwired or mobile within the 4 communities of the Annapolis Valley, so Hants, Kings, Annapolis, and Digby. And we're able to do that over the next 6 months to demonstrate what type of capability is in place so that we can start to direct proper programs to have better socioeconomic delivery and that return on investment that Barry mentioned. So how do you attract new businesses to a community? How do you leverage better infrastructure in a community to drive forward better industry, better return on, for example, of the healthcare industry and the educational industry and delivering programs, those sorts of things. So once we do this, we are able to get a direct measurement of the impact of better broadband capability in a community for those types of activities. And you can start to overlay and build a consistent map whereby if you put that type of infrastructure in a community, yes, it does raise the profile, socioeconomic profile of that community, which is good for everyone. It's good for, even when it comes right down to real estate, any property that has better capability for internet delivery is valued more, therefore it increases your tax revenue base for a municipality, for example. So this program, we're finalizing the detail of this 6-month pilot that we're doing with them, and it will be made available to all communities within the Annapolis Valley later this week. It is the only rural community in Canada being tested for this 6-month program. So once we're done with the 6-month trial, we'll figure out what we've learned from it and enhance the program even further. But the relationship that we have with the Canadian Internet Registration Authority allows us to be the first rural area in Canada to undertake this measurement. So, Barry, that's what's next on the menu there?
Sorry, this is a little bit hard to read, but Madam Warden, this is what we were talking about.
Yeah, I wrote them back saying I wanted to attend, but could I bring someone with me?
I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
And I never got a reply.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that, but of course you can, and you're more than welcome to bring someone with you. We were hoping that Linda
in actual fact, I was looking at asking to bring Evan from the Wren, but I never. But you should have got my email or someone.
That would have gone back to Don Clark's office.
Okay,
So I'll be talking to Don.
But like I said, I didn't give. I wanted to see if I was allowed, and then I was going to say
certainly.
who, because he's working on internet in this area. Well, this is the person we need. They're going to be smarter than I am with this stuff.
Yeah, and the Valley Wren is inviting the Western Wren and the Social Wren as well.
Oh,
So he would be there.
oh, so he will be there. You've invited them.
But no, please extend the invitation. He can come along.
We haven't invited him yet, but he will be invited if you haven't
That
already.
invitation is going out from the Valley Wren tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't be worried. And you said Linda was.
We'd be delighted to have Linda. I
Yeah,
understood
okay.
that it might be a vacation time, but we'll be sure to serve Mai Tais.
Oh, okay.
She loves going on vacation.
Can I go to,
Yeah,
you're serving Mai Tais.
in honor of your
Ooh.
vacation.
Oh, no.
No, it's
But
okay.
you're more than welcome to come as well, certainly, and any of the other councillors, and we'd be delighted to have
Okay.
you. It's,
See, I didn't, just the way the invitation came out, it was just for the.
Well, there is a morning. The invitation would have gone to you just for the morning session because
Yes.
the morning session is the mayor's session,
Okay.
and then in the afternoon it's more the economic development session. The goal of the morning session is to have, well, Dan Matheson will be talking about the benefits and what happens mayor to mayor, so you understand from a mayor's point of view what it takes to do this, because it's not the same as talking to economic development people, but the fact is we want all of the mayors to come together at the end of it and say, in principle, we agree with the
So
concept.
you want us there for all day then?
No, if you don't want to be there all day, you can depart at noontime. Because
Okay.
It's a mayor session in the morning.
Okay.
But we do want the CAOs and economic development folks there for the afternoon to talk about how this is going to all fit together. This is where we demonstrate the tools that are there in the Seed Mile program in more detail, and the schedule for rolling it out, all these kinds of things.
Oh, okay.
So that would be absolutely wonderful.
You
And,
can always make Jeff go.
What?
To do.
If you feel that someone else should be there from your area, please just bring them along.
Okay, but if they're going out for the afternoon, I mentioned to him that I said I've asked, but I haven't heard back yet.
All right,
Well, in fact, if you wanted to bring him in the morning session too, that's fine.
Okay.
That would be
Bring
fine.
Evan.
But
I'd
with-
like-
but
I'd like
with
to-
the-
Benefit from the economic development.
I was going to say he'd probably benefit better from the afternoon one than this morning.
I'd agree, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd agree
we'll
with
look
that.
at it. We'll, between Linda, we'll check it out.
Yeah.
That would
And the
be
reason
great.
why we're bringing Dan Matheson in as well is he is the chair of the National Rising Communities Program under iCanada. And so since Dan has grown Stratford, for example, into a smart community, we want the mayors, the wardens, and others throughout the Annapolis Valley to learn from that experience and hopefully give us consensus to move forward with what we call the Smart Annapolis Valley program and continue to develop better rural broadband capability in the Annapolis Valley and realize a better outcome for the citizens here in terms of the return on that investment, but better jobs, better lifestyle, and so on.
Okay. But, I mean, like I said, I didn't even realize it was an afternoon program because that didn't say anything.
You wouldn't, no, you wouldn't have received that. It
No,
wouldn't- It wouldn't
I
be
didn't.
affecting you, no. But certainly.
But any of you are welcome to the afternoon
That's right.
session.
David, if you wanted to come and ask real questions to people who know what they're talking about as opposed to me.
Well, that's why I'm like excited to hear Evan's going, because he'll be able to ask much more coherent questions than me. And I've been talking with him for ages. Getting internet's been something. I'll let you continue.
No, that's fine, thank you. In fact, what is your background, David? Do you have a technology background?
Not at all. No,
That's-
just I've been really keen on getting the internet down for my area for a very long time.
Ah, good,
Yeah.
okay. Well, it's funny how the technology has changed to allow that to happen now. Before, it was very difficult and very expensive, but now there are wireless systems that do, what is it, Terry, 2 gigabits over?
2 gigabits up to 25 miles.
Very interested in stuff like that. Does it have to be line of sight?
Line of sight, and
Line of
then you
sight.
have to have a distribution mechanism at the end. So you have to put in a mesh network at the end, or some type of copper or fiber distribution. It can be whatever type of distribution you want within a local cluster of residents or business, but point to point, yeah, up to 25 miles, 2 gigabit bidirectional.
Yeah, geographically, it's problematic.
Yeah, and that's why you have to take something like fiber, such as the Valley Community Fiber Network, and extend that fiber to wherever it's feasible and economical to do that, and then go with the high-speed, long-distance Wi-Fi from there using towers
So you
or
think
existing infrastructure.
So you think the fiber optic that's down right now at the Eastlink Alliant, is it right? Which one is it? Is it both?
Eastlink and Alliant
They
have,
goes right through. Along the highway.
through
Eastlink
here.
bought from us.
Eastlink,
Yeah.
The
Eastlink
fiber.
bought the FundiWeb,
Okay.
okay? We
But that fiber is not adequate for what you are hoping to
It
have
would have
in.
been if we still had access to it.
What about the feds a couple of weeks ago saying that they had to share their infrastructure?
No, that's for existing fiber to the home programs, such as what Eastlink has with their fiber op program. And the reason for that is because it's costly to have every company go in and put in their own fiber infrastructure or even their own copper infrastructure.
Yeah.
So what the CRTC is trying to say is start sharing your infrastructure, because every time you duplicate it from one company to the next, the consumer is still paying for it.
Yeah.
And there's
So
no need of it.
Do you see any role for what's already in there then? No.
From what's already there, no. Eastlink.
You don't think you can get access?
Eastlink consumed FundiWeb to interconnect all of their towers throughout the area to deliver the original rural broadband capability, which was 7 years ago. But the technology that they're using is obsolete now.
The question you asked earlier is very relevant. You were asking what open access is. Open access means that any company has to be able to access the network. Nobody can be blocked, and Eastlink won't allow that to happen.
And one
It's
thing
a
that
private
you,
network,
one
private
thing,
highway.
One thing that you find with any community that's labeled or given the designation of an intelligent community or smart community is they own their own telecommunications infrastructure.
So do you have your own employee, or do you RFP that out?
You can, or you can
do guys
RFP it out.
manage it, or how does that work?
So, for example, the Valley Community Fiber Network is owned by three different entities.
Uh-huh.
So it's owned by Acadia University, Nova Scotia Community College, and one-third entity by the municipalities within the Annapolis Valley. So it's that one-third that they can share for economic development. And so the communities right now share it for their own purposes, so they have a shared municipal infrastructure, so running all of their ICT infrastructure over.
So they send their
over
they
that.
send their bill to the municipality. Do they pay their bill to the municipality, or
No.
None of them,
No, no.
none of them are
Sorry.
using that for internet delivery at the moment.
Mhm.
Berwick, for example, along with Chester, Mahone Bay, West Hants, for example, they run all of their new wind towers using the Valley Community Fiber Network. So all of the control systems for those towers are run over that network. They use it for their own internal municipal operations, but they do not extend it to the public. They could extend it to the public, like Stratford does, like Fredericton does, like other communities in Canada do, but that's what differentiates from a telecommunications operations to a utility operations. So when the municipalities start to look at delivery of internet services like a utility, that's where they tend to come into play for an intelligent or smart community designation, which is what the Western Valley Development Authority did in developing FundiWeb.
Yeah, my main concern is, of course, my area that we've been trying for years. We had some luck with Mainland Telecom for the islands themselves, for Long and Briar Island, but the rest of the deck, well, there's a lot of people in businesses, they don't have internet or adequate internet, and it's rapidly depopulating, and and one of the main reasons, and they can't sell houses either.
Right.
One of the main things you hear over and over again is
So you have to go into this hybrid infrastructure, a combination of fiber and Wi-Fi.
Would that small population be able to, would we be able to maintain the infrastructure with a population that small to serve them?
Yes.
What we're going to do, or what we would do if you asked, is provide a networking set of options to say, here are the things you could be doing, here are the various prices to do it, here are funds you can access to do it, and we can help you coordinate all of that. And by the way, there are ownership models as well. The municipality, you guys can own it, you can sub it out to somebody else to own it. So there are different ways of doing it, and there's one touch point for doing all of that, and that's us. That's our role, is the communication,
Manage all that.
the consulting partner in all of that. We have a bunch of models that we've already done across the country. Some of them are much larger than Annapolis Valley and wouldn't apply, but some of them are exactly the same size. There's one we did for a small community called Parry Sound, north of Toronto, and they've got an interesting population. In the winter time, it's about 3,000, but in the summertime, it's over 30,000. It's the community of Toronto moving up for summer holidays. And they found, as you were saying, that their population in the summer is dropping off because nobody's got internet access. So the kids aren't coming up because they can't connect. The fathers are out there fishing. What the son wants to do is sit there in his cottage and play fishing. But they can't do that, so they're not going to. But since they started to put in the network that we were advised them to do, there are software companies now coming to Parry Sound because their employees want to sit on their dock and do their programming from their dock. And this is something Digby has in spades. You guys have a super environment here. You can make that happen. The lifestyle advantage is huge. And as you know, from the Valley Wren is putting on or has a TV campaign you've probably seen about live, work, and play in the Valley. We can put that on with a vengeance to help Digby do that. I'm just wondering, Paul, there are aspects about partnership and so on that you might want to add to the conversation. Did you?
One thing I just wanted to say is that too many people, I think, view the access to high-speed internet almost as a luxury, and it isn't. It's an essential service right now. No less so than water or electricity. And to someone's point about real estate, I had lunch yesterday with, I'm not sure if any of you know her, Jane Nicholson, who's the president of the Board of Trade in Annapolis Royal, and she was relaying a story to me about A friend of hers who was a local realtor there, taking, I think, an American tourist out who was buying this lovely house in a pristine cove somewhere and was taking a photo of it, just ready to sign on the dotted line to purchase, and wanted to take a photo with her smartphone and send it to her daughter to say, look what we're getting. And looked at her phone and said, well, there's no bars. She said, oh, no, there's no wireless service here, for your smartphone. And she said, oh, okay. So I guess we'll have to make sure that, we have good Wi-Fi so I can use my smartphone around the property when we move in. And she said, well, actually, there's no internet service here either. And, that was the end of the deal, Big sale for a nice property, and they walked away. No different than if you said, what a beautiful cottage, and, neglected to mention that there's no electricity to it, but it's really, really nice. As an economic driver, it is what hundreds of years ago ports were, or 200 years ago a rail line was, or a good highway system. I mean, this is today's highway system. This is what drives the economy, what creates jobs, creates opportunity and growth.
I have another question. How fast could you say, we said, all right, we want Sandy Cove, Little River, East Barry, Tidville, or whatever, down the neck. What sort of timeline? Because people have been waiting for years. And, speed is definitely something I'm really interested in. And how long would it take to hook people up?
The current timeline right now with the $6 million that the province has earmarked for rural broadband is they want to understand what services can be put in place by the end of March and what can be delivered extending into other areas such as that by September of 2017. So that's the immediate timeline. The Connect Canadians, the federal fund called Connect Canadians, is being used in parallel with that by some of these service providers. Then the one that municipalities have direct control over is the Build Canada Fund. In the Build Canada Fund, you can get funding earmarked for municipal infrastructure for wireless, for fiber. That clause was put into that fund in the fall of 2012. Few municipalities realize that it's there, but communications infrastructure can be municipally owned through that Build Canada Fund as well. And in fact, that's what the province used to put in rural broadband in Nova Scotia back 7 years ago. They took funds off the top of that fund for the province before it went out to the municipalities, and that was before it was earmarked in the 2012 fund.
Would that be a question we could ask, in fact, for our meeting on the 25th? That very question, how fast can this be done?
Yeah, like if I could do it tomorrow, I'd be, hey.
Well, the example, for example, if you extend the Valley Community Fiber Network down to here.
So I'd have to wait for that infrastructure to be finished.
That's fiber infrastructure.
There's no way to skip
Then you
that?
need to put in your Wi-Fi towers. Then you need to put in your distribution, which all takes time.
Yeah, with the federal approvals and
So,
all those.
Yeah, a year is a reasonable period of time.
Doesn't
There
sound
are
that
ways
bad.
to short circuit that.
I was just wondering if there's any way to leapfrog the earlier work and then maybe tap it on to maybe something less fantastic
Yeah,
for a period of time, and then when the infrastructure going through the valley reaches to this area, then it can improve. Is there any way that would be able to?
Yeah, so one of the companies that we have partnership with is NCS Networks. NCS Networks deliver that last mile and the distributed Wi-Fi capability, and they do it over existing infrastructure. So, for example, if you have a
What was the name of the company again?
farm silo tower,
NCS.
and
You'll meet them on the
NCS Networks,
25th.
they'll be there on the 25th as well. So they use existing infrastructure such as water towers, farm silo towers,
Fire halls,
Fire hall
churches.
towers,
That's what
church
we did down on the
depots.
islands.
So
That's good,
anything
yes,
like that has a high
municipal
profile.
municipal tower out
Sure.
from the municipality in Clare. All those really hurried things up.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
they work in that space.
I know.
So by combining NCS networks and getting that infrastructure put in place now, which would take 3-4 months, then, like you say, come along behind that and start to build out the fiber and other long-haul Wi-Fi capability. That's where you just do it in steps.
Sorry, was I
Okay,
interrupting?
now I'd
Sorry.
like to have Deputy Warden
Sorry.
McAlpine speak.
I have a question for Terry. You referenced the Fundy Web earlier. I was on the board of that organization for quite a number of years, and the reason why we sold it was because we couldn't see any purpose. We kept trying to get people interested in it, and there was no uptake on it. Eastlink had bought a few fibers from us originally, and they were interested in buying the whole thing. We operated for quite a while without the intent to ever sell the rest of the fibers to them, but we couldn't get, nobody else around here was interested in that at the time. In hindsight, it's always nice to know what would happen down the road, but basically you're looking at putting in the same type of dark fiber to duplicate what was there already, right?
That's what you'd have to do, is duplicate what was already there, but you would not just duplicate it. Instead of putting in 12 strand, which is what you had.
We had 42 strands, I think, didn't we?
No, it wasn't that large.
It was quite large because we'd sold, I think.
Yeah, hold on, it was 72 strand.
Yeah.
But the Fundy Web operation was 12 pair within that 72 strand.
Okay.
And because the others were in partnership with Eastlink for some of their delivery. And there was also University St. Anne and the Nova Scotia Community College
Right.
used some of that. And when I was executive director of Acorn, Nova Scotia, I went with University St. Anne and also the community college to argue with Eastlink to try and retain at least a pair, if not two pair, of that fiber for the region and for the university and college. And but they didn't want it. They wanted the whole thing for their towers at the time.
Yeah.
But yes, it would be building out new fiber, which would be similar to that, the Valley Community Fiber Network, but actually overlaying it with the services that would help the economic situation within the municipalities now. And that's exactly what Fredericton has done, Stratford has done, many other communities have done, is now they realize that they can run their own services over that fiber because they own the fiber and they own their own destination. So the municipalities are learning now that by having that fiber, yes, they can control their own destiny in the future.
I would suggest, too, one of the things that might have been influencing the situation at that time was pickup, in the sense that people weren't aware of what the value of it was. And I think now it's becoming imperative that it's an obvious case. But even where it's not an obvious case, that's one of the things we have on the board there about engagement. We have to go into the community, talk to all the various sectors, find out what their goals are, make sure that they're aware of what can be done. It's not just the youth and then the health workers, but the municipal workers as well and so on. We survey them and make sure that they're aware of it, and then we have sessions where we instruct them on what they can be doing with it. It's not just, hey, we'll throw it out and they will come. No, you have to tell people what's going to be possible. If you're a teacher in your residence, you could teach in Korea without leaving your living room with this stuff. It's like that. There's a whole transition factor that is available now that wasn't then. So I think that's going to be a difference.
I sit on the VCFN board as well, and I know back when you were discussing Fundy Web and what to do with it, VCFN had met as well, hopefully to extend an opportunity to Fundy Web at the time and join VCFN and extend VCFN using that fiber. But that wasn't a positive outcome either.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you very, very much.
Well, we thank you.
Sorry, where is the meeting again?
Berwick Fire Department.
And it's
Fire
at,
hall.
for you, Dave, it would be at noon, or is it, what time does that say? I
Noon
can't
to
read
5.
the afternoon.
Noon to 5 o'clock.
Noon to 5.
It's right off the highway.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
I'll have some things for you to check out in your morning one then.
Disable it, USB station.
Yeah, it's worth asking.
Pull it over the wall, that might do.
Oh, it'll do it, but
Oh, would you like that back?
No, I want that back.
We're going to charge you to get it back.
oh, I see.
$1 million.
Yeah. I admire the entrepreneurship.
very interesting.
Thank you very much. I hope to see you there.
Oh, one last question. Do you have to take the whole package? Can you just take bits and pieces?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wondered.
It'll all be tailored to what you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
You sure can.
So you don't have to sit through the whole thing. Do you want everyone to test their microphone, or? Okay.
How's it doing? Of course, you're here.
Is he checking the spreadsheet that we had last time?
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, but you-
It doesn't work. We are going to start council again.
No problem. They're used to dealing with me. Don't worry. Linda Frazier's looking overjoyed.
I'm trying to get.
No.
I didn't touch it, I just left it where it was.
Okay, I like that.
I just put it over it.
3 to 4 months certainly sounded really good because people been waiting 10 years. I hate telling them 2 more years, 3 more years. That's all. That's all I've been hearing for years.
This day and age, you don't have internet.
I know. And then people are moving, and you know what? Soon we're going to go below critical mass.
Well, yeah, so that I can do the bookmark.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, wait now.
Orange juice hiccups. August 25th? Would I be able to get maybe one of those invites forwarded to me just so I can look over the itinerary and stuff, Linda?
Well, the invite that I had was, it was just
Oh, I
for me.
did see that. Yeah,
No,
you did
no.
FYI me. I think you FYI'd all of us because I read something about this.
Oh, it's on your last page, the
Oh.
paper that we're handing out.
I never did get one.
It's on your package on here.
Oh,
But there's
okay.
the
Didn't see that.
the presentation's a bit different than the one that was included in the package.
Yeah.
So you've got a hard copy here. He didn't want you to have it beforehand.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Otherwise,
I
would
read
you,
that.
I'd be
Wow.
reading instead of listening. I'll go grab one.
Yeah, we're gonna,
Got one for George.
you have one?
I'm interested in this.
Potentially.
Anyway, there, now we will start on. This is a funny day.
And it's not over.
It is not over. There is no dangerous unsightly premises on the agenda, so we will go to approval of the minutes of June 13th, 2016.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Old business or business arising from the committee of the whole minutes?
Okay. I'm making up to Linda Frazier for all my questions. I'll hurry through the rest.
Okay, is there any?
I know, I'm joking. Sorry,
There's no old business? David?
Linda. No, I'm popping that right off. I feel like I got a million things to read and study and listen
Okay.
to, and I want to hear what your take is on that, and I think I might have to go up to this on the 25th and look around.
Okay. George?
Nope.
Ritza?
Nope.
And nothing for me. The new business is HMCA Arcadia. And what they have done, as you know, each year, did everyone get the opportunity to read this?
Which one?
was
The
that?
letters?
The letter that came in from Linda this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also on your desk.
Yeah.
Okay,
This
so
is
what they are
almost-
asking for, to help with the fireworks. So how much did we give them previous years? Was it $100?
$400.
400.
It says there, yeah.
Yeah.
So is there money anywheres for this?
$2,000 in grants. to
There's
organizations.
about $1,900 left in grants to organizations. I mean, we don't have to give, that amount. We can give anything.
Maybe, because our money is tight, we could give a little less.
Yeah, because I got groups I know that are going to be asking for $200-300 here and there.
So would someone like to make a,
$250?
How much?
$250?
Are you making that motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to give HMCA Acadia graduation ceremony $250. But just, good to support that.
is there a seconder?
Exactly.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the meeting dates and reminders. August the 9th at 4 o'clock, there's a DDA meeting, that is tomorrow. August the 15th, 22nd, 29th, there's no meeting. September 5th, there's no meeting. September 12th, there's a committee of the whole meeting. September the 13th is the Weymouth Doctor Recruiting. September 14th is a joint RCMP advisory. September 19th is meeting with TIR. September 19th at 5:30 is bylaw and policy. September 26th is council. September 29th at 1 o'clock is the Highway 101 Task Force. Now, is there any questions or concerns to the CAO for the CAO updates? Yes, Maritza?
Just to let you know, I'm not going to be able to make that meeting on the 29th. I have to be in Halifax
Okay.
for an appointment. So they just changed it. It was supposed to be Wednesday. They changed it to the 29th. So.
Yes, you did mention that. Okay.
Oh, Jimmy.
Jimmy?
Question in regards to the CAO report, you're right? That's where you are? I noticed, like, under Terry's report about the electric car charging stations, the
okay.
funding.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Electric car charging stations, the funding. He's still waiting to hear back from Colin Fraser's office on that.
He is. He and I had that discussion today, and he's going to follow up with Jason to see if there's anything out there as yet.
Yeah, because quite a bit of time's gone by since they made the announcement that they were going to do it, so I would think that they would have some type of a plan, or they at least tell us when they're going to roll the program out, so we could plan for it.
Interestingly, Japan just surpassed more electrical charging stations than there is gas stations in their country. There's now 5,000 more.
Okay.
I do know that Terry was out with Nova Scotia Power today, and they were scoping out the site
'Cause it's
at
gonna be
the
that big by
Superstore,
Yeah, a lot of those things.
because Nova Scotia Power is interested in funding
Come on, guys.
Okay,
funding that.
that's good.
So, yeah.
Because I know that Nova Scotia Power partnered with Superstore in Halifax for
Yes.
one, and whereas Superstore's already said that they would put money into one here, that'd be great if Nova Scotia Power could partner with them on it.
Yeah, and they were coming down today. Actually, Terry was meeting with them. So.
All right, good.
Okay, is there any other questions from the CAO update? Yes?
That issue we had with that fellow who lives next to the school in Weymouth, and he was talking to me the other day, and he said he thought at that meeting we had, it was agreed that there would be a sign put out at the road or something. He's got his own homemade sign, which sits back about 50 feet in the road, as you turn down in the road, but he said he thought that there was an agreement that a sign would be put up by the municipality.
Stating what?
Just
Private
whether it was
road.
private property
Oh,
or
oh.
municipal property or no school, no access to the school, but something official rather than his hand-painted sign that says,
Private parking.
private road or something. Do you remember anything about that, a sign being?
I know that there was a discussion about the sign and the
Yeah.
fact that there was one, but I didn't know that.
He was under the understanding the municipality was going to put up a sign, something official looking rather than his hand-painted.
Is that something?
I would say,
I don't remember
yes.
us agreeing to do that, but that could have been, that, I know that there was discussion on the signage as well,
Yeah.
because the other gentleman that, he raised an issue
Yeah.
over the sign, and I thought that the gentleman that put the sign there was going to make some changes to his sign, but that was the intent of the discussion, as far as I could see. I didn't think it meant that we were going to put a sign up.
He was under the understanding that the municipality was going to put a sign in. He's kind of been waiting for it, and it didn't show up, so he just kind of asked,
So, are you going to make a motion then, George, that we purchase a sign?
If that's what's required, yeah.
Go ahead.
Whenever it's appropriate, I'm not sure what's appropriate. Like, he wasn't even sure who owned the road. I thought we owned the road, but
Yeah, we do.
he wasn't even sure about that, so he
So,
just wanted
yeah.
an
So-
appropriate sign put up at the road.
All right,
I'll
and
move
then,
that we purchased or erected an appropriate sign for that.
I'll second that.
okay, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Can I ask George something while we're talking about Weymouth?
Yes.
What's happened with the water factory bottling?
I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen any activity around there.
There's a rumor that they're gone.
Yeah.
They up and left, you mean?
They spend a lot of money. I know they spend a good portion of money fixing that place up.
Who would know? Is
Dan,
that something we should be following up on? Just, I mean, that was going to employ some people in the Weymouth
12
area.
people last day.
Dan might be the only one that I would know who might know something about Dan Harvey.
Dan Harvey?
I'd like to throw a thing in about Dan, though, in regards to the department reports. He did a meeting with a well-attended meeting in Freeport, and 3 of those people have moved on to start their own businesses. And one lady hired her brothers, and these are people who weren't previously working, and they're doing a great job, and it's all very official, tax receipts and everything. And I just want to say what a great job for Dan, and I got a couple more people I might see if I
Okay,
can
going back-
somehow squeeze into Dan's busy schedule. So I talked to you, Linda Fraser.
Regarding,
There's a gentleman doing oceanography and studies and stuff like that. Would Dan be someone that him maybe to talk to? What's his?
just provide, just send me the information, and Dan's away this whole month.
Yeah, I knew that, so I thought maybe now would be a good time to.
Yeah, just send it to me.
Yeah, I just wouldn't mind, even if it's just for networking. I think the guy could really get some assistance from Dan. I think he'd be.
Okay,
great.
we're going to go back to Councilor Adams.
Just, I guess my concern is that we were hoping that it would employ people in the Weymouth area, but
Yeah.
if they've left, it would be nice to know that it's available, and maybe somebody else might be interested. If they don't
Especially if
know
I mean,
that.
I don't know. It's just
they
that I
don't know
had some
that, they're
people
not
on the
gonna be-
weekend
But they
telling
may
me.
still own the property, too.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, if someone interested in buying or
You're gonna be
whatever. I'm just
needing to, yeah.
kind of
It's been
disappointed that,
renovated.
So we'll see what we can find out, or
yeah.
I shouldn't say we, the CAO.
'Cause that was supposed to
Valid
be,
point.
like a year ago, they were gonna put machinery in, then they had a setback.
Problem,
And
yeah, I know.
Back in January, they said the machinery was in Vancouver in containers, waiting to be shipped.
During the strike, wasn't it?
I'm not
Yes.
sure, but
Yeah.
but That's been out January, I'm sure you can arrange shipping,
Yeah.
6 or 8
Okay.
months, if you're gonna do it.
I'm fine.
Anything else? Okay. Departmental reports. David, you've already brought up.
Sorry, I
about-
got
That's
mixed
all
up.
right. It's all right. Is there any other questions or comments on the departmental reports that were sent out?
So, I'm assuming from the thing I saw on the Digby Courier Twitter, that the airport's been extremely busy in these last little bit with
Who has? Sorry.
fire, the airport.
The airport.
Oh, I was
selling-
gonna ask.
Selling gas and,
Yeah.
I assume so, yeah.
yeah,
I was
that's
talking.
good for us, not good because it's fires.
I talked to Bruce Snell on Friday night downtown, and he said that there's 6 bombers in there, and they're just constantly just. and
Are
they're
they the
out
ones
there-
from New Brunswick? Because they sent their
Yeah.
fleet, yeah, okay.
And they are buying fuel from us. So,
I was gonna ask that.
Sad way, but,
Yeah, so-
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
so if there's no comments on the
Oh.
departmental, yes?
I have one more thing. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking about this as I was driving here. Since it's so dry and there's a complete ban on any fires and all the whole province and anything, can we put something up, or is there something up on our website?
We actually, the Department of Natural Resources today actually issued a ban on people being in the forest.
Yes, I heard that
And
too,
we,
yeah.
that's up on our Facebook.
Okay, good.
I'll put it up on our Facebook right away.
Yeah, good.
Didn't they also ask some municipalities to assist them in that, or to do?
I'm
I
assuming
was
when they said
confused what
that-
they meant by that. They spread the word? Is that
I
what they
think
meant?
spread
Well, they-
the word,
yeah, because
or
they don't want-
If we have any type of activities going on within the forestry, that we would,
Yeah, because there's people cutting their wood.
A lot of people cutting
Yeah.
the wood.
This is, you know,
It's so dangerous right now, yeah.
yeah, spark fly.
Okay, sorry, it just made me think of that.
Well,
too.
that's a valid point. It doesn't hurt to be on our website as well as our Facebook page. Okay, is there any updates from previous action items anyone wants to discuss or question? Capital project update. Okay. Next is correspondence and information items. The Lottery and Casino Corporation sent us a letter. Any questions? And the next piece, I just want to say that being on the board of the Nova Scotia Police Association, Nola was also an executive member, same as I.
Noah.
She's Nola.
Oh, Nola, sorry.
The same as she was also on the Canadian board. And I will tell you, I went to the funeral this morning on behalf as a warden. The mayor was there and all his staff and all their council, and, you know, it was not nice, but it was nice, you know. He had his chain of office on. They came over after and were really pleased. The warden of Kings County was there, and some of her council. Greg McCarthy from Toro was there. But, I mean, he said, you know, we know you're busy and we greatly appreciate you coming. It was a huge funeral. It was Nola Ellen Faulkner Hill. I'm going to pass this around. It was at the
The one in Kent?
in Kentville Town Council.
It's on the paper.
And the church is huge. I had to find the church, but it's a huge church. And it was full, and then the other side they had to open up, and that was full. You know, very sudden. No one can really answer what. The rumor, and it's only a rumor, heart attack. So I just wanted to pass that around. I wanted to say the service was very well done. Her brother spoke and gave a talk of her life, and her son did a reading. Very emotional. Like I said, I was glad that I attended, and you know, on behalf of us. Any questions or anything? The other thing I wanted to comment on, my God, Scallop Days was a great success. They came to me to thank us again for our volunteering. The town as well did, and they greatly appreciate it, and they will be doing it in the future to come as well. You know, like they said, even if it's like a Thursday or a Friday just for a few hours, it means a lot. The new princess is Miss Barnaby from Freeport, who won, and the runner-up was Miss Joyce. So it was. Like
We
I
gave
said,
money to Taylor once for for the trip to Ottawa. Remember that?
Oh, okay.
Terry Funk?
Yeah, and she said that made a real difference, and she realized you could talk in front of groups. Strangely enough, I think that trip had a lot to do with her doing this time.
She did an excellent job.
She planned on getting them more out into the community afterwards. She told me all about it. She's a nice kid.
So I did want to make those comments. Is there anyone else who'd like to make any? Jimmy?
Yeah, I was down there Friday night, and I was really pleased to see the number of people around from out of town. Really was a good turnout. We ran out of salt, but Joey Hattie got some more from his place, and he got the place, he got in the place, but I mean, this was like 5:30 when we ran out, so we needed to have time for the rest of
They went through 300 pounds of scallops on the weekend and ran out each day.
Yeah, I heard they run out Saturday and Sunday.
Well, we
You know.
sold out the frozen stuff, but they were selling salt by the pound.
Uh-huh.
And they one lady wanted 10 bags. Well, she got the last 7. But that was it. Like it was going crazy.
That's not counting the 300 pounds that they were cooking.
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
They were selling frozen as well.
Yes, in the morning when I was there, we were selling them.
But it was good to see the people around over there.
Yeah?
Well, you need to go and check out, I wonder if you can go to our site out here. People take in paint they want to dispose of, they want to get rid of.
Yeah.
So you might be able to talk to Greg Thomas and see if,
Greg Thomas?
well, Thomas has managed our site for us.
That's a great idea. I was there today dropping off empty paint cans from that. That didn't even occur to me.
Should have asked him in the head in. Anyway,
Greg
the only reason
Thomas.
I know this because the reason opening is now and down on the island in Tiverton there, they're painting the old fish shack.
Yes.
It's great.
And it looks really nice and it's a good initiative. They need more paint, so I just thought I would mention it today about going and seeing Greg.
Excellent idea.
And where does he live? So if I was looking up his, give him a
No, you
call.
No, no,
Go to
you
the
go to
site.
his business.
That's across from where ours. Is that the right? Is on that? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
just
it's
go
on the same
there.
site. It's on
Same
the
site.
The blue container building, that's right there at the.
Just gonna ask.
The big building I went to today.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Exactly, it's
Right.
The one that Gordon showed me when I first got elected. Check out this garbage can. Got some good junk too out of the garbage dump, I might add. My wife did.
David.
I did. I found some awesome garbage. I did. That's good. All right, I'm done.
I'd like to have Marissa.
Yes, I thought there were lots of interesting people at the Scald Days. I met 2 young ladies who are living in Bear River right now. One's from Stockholm and one's from Copenhagen. And they're here for a couple of months, living in Bear River, and then they're moving on to Toronto.
Yeah,
And-
Golden Fair.
Did you? They bought a car?
Good job,
It must be
kid.
money, anyway. Yeah, very, very nice, interesting young people. And then there was a gentleman who came up, asked for scallops, and he said, I drove 1,400 miles to get here from the States. He said, and you don't have any. We were gone by then, so it was kind of cute. So there were lots of people from all over the place here. I thought it was great.
It was.
The weather was wonderful. That helped, too.
Yes, and it was so well organized.
Much better.
You know, it really was. I mean, they had the volunteers in check. You know, you went there, you had your job to do. The events went off well. They coordinated well. I mean, I can tell you, Nicole Oliver, Keith Wiggle, Maureen Hattie, Joey Hattie, not Joe, I guess, Joey Hattie. I mean, they never stopped. Anytime I seen them, they were running like bees, is what I said last night. You know, not counting all the other volunteers. Like, I mean, there was volunteers that came in early in the morning and cooked until everything was gone.
Takes a lot of people to keep it.
Yeah,
going.
it really does. So I thought it's a hats off. We were thanked at the opening and at the closing for our sponsoring of the Princess, and also with our donation, as well as the town was thanked as well. But very appreciative, and then they came. I will say yes. Most of their directors came and spoke to me and thanked us for our support. So, I mean, it takes a lot of work.
Starting already.
So if there is no other business,
Well, I have a 15-minute soliloquy to give just because I know Linda Fraser loves hearing my voice so much at the end of sunny days, as she's been here since 8. Just kidding.
okay. Would someone like to, is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded?
I met a young
Motion
couple from
carried.
Ontario. They just decided to rent a car